Hello, but I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. I hope you guys all enjoy. Let's hop into our first couple of stories all about roster changes, which are now confirmed. A few of these were actually leaked a while ago by Decay, alongside our Chinese source, that being Flora. That being a Tyloo roster change will be happening after the closed qualifiers. And also, if you guys not realize, the title will be going over all of the closed qualifier teams in the back half of today's episode. I'm going to analyze my favorite teams, and I would greatly appreciate if you guys could leave a comment down below what surprise teams you think are going to make it through the closed qualifiers. And with that being said, Tyloo will be a brand new roster once this closed qualifier does actually conclude itself, and it will be, yes, it's going to be Freeman. He was actually leaked a long time ago to be joining this roster, like I said before, by Decay as well as Flora, but who he'd be replacing was still a mystery. As of right now, though, Xccurate has confirmed on his stream, also according to Flora, that it will be him being replaced, and this will be his last event with Tyloo. And once the minor does come around, it will be Freeman on the roster and Xccurate on the bench, which is a huge surprise, because when we first talked about this many weeks ago, it was of course going to be Attacker based off statistics and showings recently. He was their weakest member. He was a possibility, probably the highest possibility. Also, some rumors out there said maybe Ben Tet, because it's been a long time communication issue on that Tyloo roster with Ben Tet being a part of that. And yes, it didn't make the most sense because he is by far and away their best player, but it will now be Xccurate. If you guys remember, back to the Face It Major, he was the reason they made the run in the first part. So who knows whether he's kind of has morale issues or kind of does not want to play CSGO currently. It will be him being replaced and Freeman joining the roster. But either way, a huge surprise here for Tyloo, who have not actually qualified yet for that minor, for the Asian minor. Most of our teams have been confirmed besides our Chinese teams, and they will be competing against 5Power and Vici and other great Chinese teams with this current roster. But once that comes time for the minor, when they have to face off against Avant and as well as Greyhound Gaming for only 2 spots out of the Asian minor, they'll have a brand new roster with Freeman on that. So not going to be an easy run here. We could see for the first time in a while, besides when visa issues came into play, Tyloo not in a major, because a brand new roster will be being played if they even do make the minor. Now, speaking of weird times to make changes out there, it will be OpTic Gaming once again now reconfirmed for the 3rd time, as they actually have a DreamHack qualifier sometime soon. Their roster had to be posted, and it will be the 18-year-old Danish man, that being TeSeS, and I know I mispronounced that again. He'll be replacing Snappy on that roster as well. So again, we continue to have so many teams out there as we approach these minor closed qualifiers, the minor, the major qualifier as well. So many teams out there making big changes. Of course, the weirdest part about OpTic Gaming, you guys have heard all the talk around them. Their owners are being bought out, supposedly have been bought out by Immortals as well. So the fact they are making roster changes but could possibly have new owners as well, it's a very weird thing. So who knows how that's actually lined up. It will be Snappy out on the bench though, an 18-year-old Danish man rejoining the OpTic roster. This OpTic roster, to me though, still a giant mystery mark, question mark as to what they're going to do in the future. And very lastly, before we break down the closed qualifier teams and my favorite teams out of each and every region, which again, please leave a comment down below. I'm super curious what teams out there, because obviously when I analyze all of these teams, I'm gonna miss some up and comers. I'm gonna miss some key points that you guys probably know about that even I don't know about, because there are so many teams involved. And one of them that will not be there, at least not as Denial, will be the Denial Esports squad. They'll be playing under a different name because, yes, if you guys had somehow not heard about this, I saw comments about this. I had an entire video about Denial Esports actually leaving esports. All of their current teams and players will be done when their current contracts also expire. So I saw a few comments about that. I had a full video, I'll link down below for all of you guys, because it was a crazy story. But they will no longer be in esports, and including CSGO as well. I believe their CSGO team is actually playing under a new name. I think they're going to be called Sons of Sir Scoots. If you guys don't know, he actually gave them money to do their boot camp before that minor as well for them. So anyway, let's break it down, guys. Here are my favorites when it comes time for all the minor, for the closed qualifier. Not even the minor teams out there, the closed qualifier teams, and hopefully we're going to see some big surprises. And so firstly, when it comes to America, my head is jumbled, especially across pretty much all of these regions. We are seeing some very weird roster changes, especially close to this time. And so when it comes time for predicting things, well, we're going to look at precedents historically to pick some of our teams. When it comes to America though, NRG and Furia, just based off results and sheer roster power, they have to be pretty much 2 guaranteed locks. Now it'll be 6 spots out of here to actually go on to the America's minor, guys. So those will be 2 of them. When it comes time for the other teams though, 2 of my other picks are going to be based off consistent rosters out there, teams who have not necessarily made roster changes anytime soon. That'll be Team 1 and LG, both also Brazilian rosters. I am very strong pointed on that, especially the LG roster in terms of consistency, and that being one of the longer standing rosters here. And that brings up our new point of other teams who will also be here. Cloud9 could be on your radar as well. Of course, Cloud9 currently has had so many roster changes underway, and it's kind of weird saying Cloud9 because until they made these these roster changes, they actually had a major spot, so it's very weird talking about them, and they have looked shaky as ever. You look at teams like Envy and ATK also have changed their rosters. Of course, Envy took Sonic away from ATK, so again, we have at least 3 to 4 rosters with roster changes. You look at a team like Mythic, they've had runs almost in the past, especially at our last 2 majors, so they've done, you know, they've had experience in these I guess you could say in these roles before, but they have also changed their roster ever since. So I'll give you guys my 4 teams, but again, 6 teams do go through. Furia, NRG should be guarantees. I want to see a team like LG and Team 1 also go through once again, and we're looking towards teams like Envy or Cloud9 who can really step it up to fill those remaining spots out of America. And then for Europe, oh my goodness, it almost gives me a headache to look at this one. Europe could legit be its own tournament. It could legit be a minor already, but again, this is just a closed qualifier for the minor. 8 teams will go through. My first 4 though have to be Fnatic, alongside them Mouse Sports and North, and then Wendigo as well will be my 4 teams I pick right away. You could also say Valiant though, alongside Heroic. Heroic has had pretty good success against teams like North, who's been back and forth. Both those teams, that being North and Heroic, have also made recent roster changes, so I will say those are my 4 guarantees. Mouse Sports, Fnatic, alongside them North, and probably Wendigo, but again, anything can happen. You look at the back half of the pack though, you still have OpTic Gaming. They have a brand new 18-year-old player for them, but no longer an IGL, so a new IGL will be shuffled into that role. You look at Virtus Pro, I think it's going to be a fan favorite team, but they lost a 5v4 back half of a game a couple days ago, so Virtus Pro not looking particularly strong at any point in time in the past year and a half or so. And then you have additional teams in there as well, like Gamer Legion, although when it looks at Scream's team, I have not seen anything consistent out of them, so I'd be surprised to see them make actually the minor itself, but if they do, you know, who knows, they have some pretty good names on there alongside him in existence. When it comes down to that though, I give you guys my 4 top names out there, and the other 4 that could go through could be just about anyone. I would love to see though a Valiant and Heroic also make it, because I think they do deserve it, and maybe OpTic will slip in there as well. Who that 8 team will be though, it just could be anyone. And then for CIS, I think I might need help, but whenever I actually predict CIS, of course with the minor as well as the closed qualifier, I usually go with historical precedents and the longer term rosters, and in terms of, I guess you could say, even recent results, Forza has to be on top of my list alongside Namiga. They were there again last major in this same spot. You look at a team like as well Gambit Youngsters, I think is definitely going to be one of your top teams here, much like their main roster would have been, but if Gambit's going to favor their Youngsters roster, I think they have a high chance on top of that. I think your 4th guarantee though has to be a team like Spirit. Historically speaking, they nearly always make it past this stage, and again, one of the longer term rosters of all the teams here. So those are going to be my 4 guarantees for all of you guys. Alongside them though, you have a whole shuffle of teams out there. Pro 100 has been here before. Windstrike, of course, they lose Boomich, but they gain Edward. You look at Simon Gaming, they were here last year as well, but along with that, they've already lost one of their players known as iDisbalance, who is one of their better members on top of that. So I give you guys 4 guarantees, but alongside that, it's really a shuffle here for CIS with so many teams going through. I think we'll see though a majority of our best teams make it through out of this region. And then very lastly for Asia, yeah, the region where only 2 teams do go through, they pretty much already qualified all of their minor teams, not even the closed qualifier teams. You're looking at the list for the actual minor, so we actually are waiting for 2 more teams out of the Chinese region, and that'll solidify all of our minor teams, which 2 teams will go through. You look at the favorites right now though, Avant has been coming up very recently. On top of that is a powerful name out there who could surprise a lot of people. Of course, Greyhound, I'm crossing my fingers ultimately for. I think it's going to be a race though between those 2 teams, being Avant and Greyhound, and whatever teams come out of the Chinese region, which is going to be 5 Power, Vici, or the new Tyloo roster. Tyloo, of course, going to be a favorite there to also make it back to the major. Even with the new roster, they should be your favorite, alongside a team like Greyhound, Vici, whoever qualifies out of China, and maybe Avant to be a surprise team out there. I think a lot of us though are going to cross our fingers that it will be Greyhound and Dick Stacy to return for some you guys, some more dick sticks. But as always, hope you guys all enjoy. Again, my upset team is going to be Wendigo this time around. I picked them a couple majors ago as well as last major. They almost did it, but I really do hope at the borderline when it comes to Europe, when we actually get to our minor and our minor predictions, I think we're all hoping that if not Wendigo, that Mouse Sports actually makes the major this time around, because yeah, that was a brutal last time around to see that happen. But anyway, I hope you guys all enjoy. Make sure to leave a comment down below of your predictions, what teams you think might slip through the seams and actually might surprise us eventually at the major qualifier or even at the minor itself. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy. I'll be back here tomorrow breaking down more CSGO news, and until then, take care. Bye.